morning, students. A warm welcome and a namaste from me. And I really thank the management of NIRMALA College to inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. As a coach, as a writer, it's always a huge pleasure that I get a chance to speak to all the youngsters, and if not youngsters, I mean anybody who wants to write a book, because as Dr. Allen rightly said that you would be you. This is this world of letters which attracted me towards it. My background is an IT person. I spent 20 years in IT professional world, and I left everything for the love of this world. So I really enjoy and cherish any opportunity which is given to me when I come and talk to anybody who wants to understand and learn writing. So, if I have your permission, can I begin my small little presentation? And I hope this is going to be a lot of fun. I've tried to make it interactive, but yeah, I haven't really. I'm not able to really see any one of you. So I would. This would be more like a monologue, but still, I would be doing it. So okay, I'm sharing my screen, and just let me know if you guys can see me. Maybe if anyone can, because if anyone who's holding a mic uh, uh, from the organizing team can tell me yes, no, is it good, not coming across, just give me those cues, because I can only see my computer screen and I can only see myself talking, so I wouldn't know if you guys are with me or not.
Yes, we are able to see you.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so Tanmay Dubey, right? So I've done a multiple things. I do a lot of things. I'm into physical sports. I am into public speaking. I've written books. I've done few international marathons and triathlons, represented the country. So who am I? Uh, uh, my name is, as you all know, Tanmay Dubey. I'm the founder and CEO of Author Coaching Academy. I'm also a writer. I've written, and few of my books have become best-selling books. These are my 6 books. What I call them at the end of the screen. If you see at the below bottom of the screen, you see I can. Okay, I can use a pointer as well. Yeah. So this is where all my babies are, all my books have, and I've also coached more than 100 plus authors to successfully write, publish, and become best selling authors. We also work in our author coaching academy. We also work with our clients to help them monetize the book into a six-figure business. Right? There's a common myth saying that a writer cannot earn money, and a writer has to be poor. A writer has to live in very controlled resources and all that. No, that's not the fact. In my program, we teach that how can you actually build your brand and then become a really influential person and help people with your writing and can also earn the money. Now, having said that, what do I do? My specialty is in helping coaches, aspiring coaches, trainers, speakers, bloggers, entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders who are maybe stuck in their job or business and want to build a solid, profitable business around their passion of writing so that they can start earning a good amount of money, anywhere between 1 lakh to 5 lakh per month with the help of the book that they never wrote. So this is what I do. This is what I specialize in, helping people. But uh, and there's just a few names. The list keeps on increasing. These are the few people whom I have coached. Mr. Ilango Thambia, he's from Chennai. He's the ex Tata Teleservices Vice President. Mr. Sudarshan Ji, Vijaya Lakshmi, Mohit Chaube, Shilpa Patel, all across the country. All of them, my dear friend, are first-time authors. So why am I showing you all these things? Is to motivate all of you. Is to tell you that if you love writing, you can pick up this art. You can become a writer at any age. There is no right or wrong age. There is no early age or an old age. Right now, I'm coaching a gentleman who's 60 years of age. He's a retired commissioner of income tax, and he's wanting to write a fiction book. There is no age to become a writer. The sooner the better. And writers, my dear friends, all of you, other than writing their books and maybe doing it, they've got one more very important responsibility, the responsibility of making a social impact. As a writer, it is your duty to, to create a social impact, a positive impact with the help of your words, with the help of your thoughts. What kind of world you want to see, what kind of change you want to see in the world, right? All this positivity. So all these gentlemen, they worked with us. They worked with us and followed our Tempoar coaching system and became writers. Quickly about my books, I will not take much time. My first book, Just Six Evenings, is a modern day tale of love, lust, and ambition in a corporate India that shines at the expense of the dreams it tramples under its feet. This was published in 2014, became a big hit, and I got a lot of accolades. This was published by Rupa Publications, the leading publishing house in the country. And the success of this book propelled me to write another book called The Amigos, which I feel is the book for youngsters. If you want to really pick up this book, I encourage you to go and read. This book talks about the power of overcoming your fears. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have to overcome fear. So this talks about how small thing, what will people say? What will my dad say? What will happen? What others will say? No, if you want to overcome, if you want to really achieve something great in life, just overcome your fear. So this book talks about uh, all that friendship, bonding, college, musty, and all that. So again, the actor Nawazuddin Siddiqui, the film actor, plays this book. And this is the book that I'm really proud of. Although it is very difficult to say that which baby out of all your six babies you love the most, but this book made me an extremely proud book because extremely proud author because this became a best-selling book. It is getting adapted into a web series. Hopefully, another year or so, you would see in one of the channels this book adapted into a web series. This is excuse me. This is inspired by real events. It's a thrilling tale of murder, mystery, and journey of a and also the journey of how does a man finds a true dharma. What is the true dharma for anyone? Okay. Now, interestingly, why did I tell all of these things to you? So, if you are writing a fiction book, and this is what I want to teach you, the first lesson, the first thing that you need to have or to look in your story, what is the piece of learning that people want to take from your book? What do you want to teach them? Now, if you want to make a point, there are two ways to do this. You write a fiction book, you write a non-fiction book. And if you write a fiction book, people will look at you, oh my God, oh, you are not so serious. You've just written a fiction murder mystery. What can I learn from this murder mystery? Still, there is some learning in between. The true dharma. There's a strong message of what is right and what is wrong. Okay. So, whenever you're crafting any kind of story, even if it is a fun story, what is the subtle message that you want to give? Because human minds, my dear friends, human minds think in stories. We talk in stories. We narrate incidences as if they were stories. Look at the old things, Panchatantra, so many other books, right? The good messages to children were given only through stories. So whenever you write a story, and I will tell you how do you write good stories, what are the components of a story. The first thing is find the message. Now, coming with the message, my other book, which are more straight away. This is non-fiction book, DNA of a Champion Salesperson. This is also an Amazon number one bestseller. And this talks about this breaks the myth that salespersons are born. If you want to achieve and excel in anything, everything in life, learn the art of sales. And sales can be learned, it can be mastered, and everybody in this world is selling. A doctor is selling his services, a film actor is selling his book, sorry, his movies. I'm selling my books, right? So sales is not bad. Learn the art of sales. You have to sell yourself. Even if you're a corporate employee, you have to sell your brand. You have, you have to you have to you have to make good that if you want to get promotions in your corporate career or in your office and anywhere, you have to create that own brand. That how are you? How good you are? Why should you be chosen over others? Do some good job. Create a good brand, right? Again, that's a different topic altogether. This is the Hindi version of the same book, and my last and not the least, and this is where something I really wanted to teach, that how to write a book in 1 month and earn 1 lakh from it. Yes, you can earn money with the end of your book. And this is available on Amazon, and just pick it up and read. And we've covered very simple methods to quickly write your book. And I'll be teaching you today how do you get it published without paying a lot of money. Learn how to monetize your art. And this book is, as I said, available on ebook and hardcover. Okay, so enough of self-boasting now. Let's get on to the real talk. Why am I here? Okay. As you said, as you know that I work. This is my startup author coaching academy, and the first thing when you approach writing, I told you about the message part, but the first thing as a writer that you need to have is a winning mindset. That's very, very important, my dear friends. And this is not even in writing. If you want to succeed in writing, and maybe beyond that in life, this is absolutely important to have a winning mindset. And I will start with this. And while there are so many books available, Hema, my next speaker can talk to you about the nitty gritties of writing and all that, the tools. How do you write a book? What is the tool? How do you create a great dish and all that? But before that, I want to tell you about how important your mindset is if you want to achieve anything in life. Okay. Now, what do I do? This is your present state, right? You want to achieve something. You want to. You want to. You want to maybe write a book. You want to do an MBA. You want to get good marks. All of this. This is your present state, but you are struggling to get a desired state. This is where you want to get a great job. You want to write a fantastic book. You want to become the most loved person in your family. What is stopping you, or how do you reach from your present state to the desired state? You have to understand the belief which is holding you. You have to understand, you have to overcome your limiting beliefs. Now, what is a belief? Mr. Tony Robbins. I guess everybody, if had this been a live section, I would have taken a pause here and I would have asked you how many of you know about this gentleman called Tony Robbins. So unfortunately, I cannot show his picture, but what he tells us about is what is a belief? Belief have the power to create and the power to destroy. I am an Indian is a belief. I am so and so is a belief. And people go fight, kill, die because they believe in something. As Mr. Tony Robbins says, human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their life and create a meaning that disempowers them, or one that can literally save their lives. So if you want to achieve become a writer and say, "Oh my God, how to write a book? This is such a difficult task. I will not be able to do it. What will people say? What will happen this way? What has happened? People will laugh at me. They will say, what nonsense have you written? Is this the English I wanted to write? Is this the language you want to write? How can you become a writer?" And all that. Overcome these beliefs, because these beliefs are formed by your thoughts. Your thoughts becomes your feelings. How you feel. You're thinking a bad thing, your mood becomes bad. Once your mood becomes bad, you start taking irritating actions. You start shouting at people. You start misbehaving with others. What it happens? It gives you an outcome. Oh, she is bad. It gets irritated every time. Where is it coming from? It is coming from your thoughts. And if you want to change this outcome, if you want to write a book, if you want to contribute to society, if you want to do good in your job, if you want to good at your studies, This is the outcome that you're looking at. So find from where it is coming. It is coming from your thoughts, and your thoughts are making you into believe, oh, I'm not good, I can't achieve this thing, everything happens bad with me. This is not good at all. Okay, so we have this belief. So understand where this all beliefs are coming from, and these limiting beliefs are which are stopping you to achieve greatness in your life. Everything is possible. I have done Ironman triathlon, which is 2 kilometers of swimming in open water, then 90 kilometers of cycle ride, and after that 21 kilometers of running. And I did it in Australia, having an Indian flag. I had a belief that I am doing it for India. And when I looked at the entire enormity of the physical enormity of the task, I'm not a trained sportsman. I'm just an amateur person, normal person like anyone. But I wanted to do it because it was my belief that I could do it. So a very strong belief can make you do achieve a lot of different outcomes. So a quick one: belief, I can't do it. I cannot get great marks. I cannot get a good job. I anything negative. People say, remove negativity, attract positivity, become positive. Understand what is negative inside. Keep that away. Positivity will automatically come forward to you. Blessings with God's blessings will always come to you like that. Okay, so anything I can't, I don't, I must not, I am not, other what others will say. So this is your limiting belief. You can write a great book, you can convert it into a great business, and you can achieve a lot of things. If you understand what is stopping you, which is your eternal belief. I can teach you how to write a great book, but if you're not able to willing to apply it, and your negative beliefs are holding you back, even if I teach you, even if I tell you great one of the greatest method to write a book, still you will not be able to do it. So that's the first lesson, my dear friends. That's the first lesson that I want to teach you is understand and overcome your limiting belief and have a winning mindset, because when you approach any work with a winning mindset, success will come. Success will come with folded hands in front of you. Okay, so overcome limiting beliefs and achieve whatever you want to achieve from a present state where you're struggling to struggling to get great results. Become a happy and a successful and a fulfilled person, a writer. Okay. Okay, so I'll take a little pause, and that's what my my style is. And I take a little pause and ask, is it making sense? Can I have a yes or a no from anyone? And then I'll move ahead. Is it making sense? Are you guys with me? I can't see you, unfortunately. Okay, so I didn't get any answer. I'm assuming you all are with me. Okay, now the nuts and bolts of the thing. What is writing? Uh, this is my writing is truly about sharing. This is my definition. It's not about showing how smart you are, nor about proving anything to the world. It is simply sharing what is your heart and what brings you joy. Once you realize that your objective in writing is simply to share with others what you have learned or what you know, then writing becomes fun and exciting. A lot of person come and ask me. A lot of students comes and ask me, Tanmay, is it necessary to write very complicated English? Is it necessary to write very expensive words, if I can use this? Well, there are four pillars of strong writing. Your writing has to be simple, your writing has to be clear, your writing has to be elegant, and your writing has to be evocative. So these are the four pillars of your writing. So come from a point of view that you are sharing to the world. Okay, so once you have this empathy mindset, heart of sharing, you don't have to prove anything to the world. You're simply sharing and you're enjoying your process. That's the first step. to become an author, not to prove to the world that I am an author. I know a lot of things more than anybody else. No, have that empathetic. Come from a very, very, very humble approach towards life, and life will give you. Okay, now because we are talking writing, any good story has to have an arc, story arc. I don't know whether you would have learned this in your classes. So when you're creating a story, this is the ordinary world of your protagonist. Okay, he's living a normal life. He's he has a good family and everything is going normal before something what we call it as inciting incident hits his or her life. Something happens. There is a bomb which has to be taken care of. There's a murder which has happened. The wife fell ill. The father broke his leg, or the company is getting bankrupt. Something which happens which destabilizes the normalcy. Now here, guys, we are talking about something what we call it as linear narration, right? The story is progressing linear. It's moving in one direction from 1 to 10. It's moving in a linear fashion. I'm not talking about narration here. There can be two ways of narration. There can be a linear narration and there can be non-linear narration also, where you give snippets of your story part by part, and there are multiple ways you're approaching your story from. Still, irrespective how you narrate your story, there has to have a strong story arc. The main story, it has to have some arc where the first person is the first is where you introduce your characters. People should know who the story is about. Is this story about a dog? Is this story about a dinosaur? Is it about a robot? Is it about a hero? Is it about a heroine? Is it about a villain? Whatever, right? And then you have to find about what is the inciting incident, what happens where the normalcy is broken. Aliens are going to attack, something happened, you know or the bank is robbed, normalcy changed. Then once you introduce your settings, once you introduce the inciting incident, what happens next is this is how your story progresses. Then the action rises. Problem. There is one obstacle here, there is another obstacle here. Okay, this raises, and then it reaches a final climax point where there is a lot of action happens. Now action can be words. Action is not necessarily the fist fight or the gun fight. It can be through words also. The person can talk, explain anything, and then a falling action and the final denouncement, where the first thing that I told you other than the mindset was, what is the piece of learning? What do I learn from this story? Okay, what is the final piece of learning? And how will you tell this learning? You will tell this learning through the journey of your main protagonist. And at times, that is also called a character arc. That your character starts from one sort of person, changes to another sort of person. And it is this learning, which is his or her learning in the story, is what the general learning for the audience is. From a bad person, from an egoistic person, the hero changes into a very humble person and a very giving person. From a bad politician, he becomes a good politician. So, that's the kind of character arc which has to overlay, which has to, it just lies on top of it or below of it, like a story arc. So this is how it moves: story arc, climax, action. And a lot of story teachers have also they also call it as 3 act structure: act 1, act 2, and the final act, the act 3. Now interestingly, and I'm covering a bit of history here, all playwriting, Novel writing is also a form of a playwriting. It is adapted from playwriting, and all this playwriting comes from Aristotle. He is the father of all your plays. And Indians were primarily not playwriters. They were song tellers. All your books were primarily uh, songs. But all this modern novel writing is adapted from, or for that matter, the film that we see nowadays. They are all adapted from the plays which used to happen, and it was all again the Greeks and the Romans who used to do this. The three-act structure is how the story is broken into and looked into. A lot of story teachers, a lot of story doctors, a lot of filmmakers look a book into what are the three act. Okay, this is how it starts. This is in the middle, and this is in the end. And you can clearly see the example in nowadays. It is not there, but earlier we used to have an interval in the films, so that were like good, two halves, the first half and the second half, because three half would become very very large. They were earlier three uh, breaks which used to happen in the plays and all. Maybe somewhere they would be still following it, but so this is a lot of story teachers, a lot of creative right teachers also tell you something called three act structure. Okay, so a little pause here, and I would see, is it making sense? Are you guys with me on this? Can I see some raised hands? Can I see a yes or a no from someone? Is it making sense? I would love to hear some comments, or maybe something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. You guys are with me on this. Is it making sense? Okay, thank you. Good. Cool. So I move ahead. Let's go a little bit deeper into the craft of creative writing. Okay. A story is a description of human behavior, and this behavior needs to have consequences, which we call it as plots. Your story is a combination of small plots and subplots. It's like a beads, or the pearl necklace. If you see the small small pearls, these pearls are your plots. And when these pearls are created together, it becomes a nice necklace, which becomes a beautiful story. So, a story is a description of human behavior, and this behavior needs to have consequences or plots. A story must introduce the reader to a person, Gabbar Singh, Thakur, whoever, I don't know, or people, or to animal, robots, toys, or aliens who want something. In every story, the protagonist wants something. If he doesn't want, then the story doesn't exist. So you need to clearly understand what does the protagonist want. And when he tries to get something, to make some kind of physical, emotional, or a moral journey. He wants something, and in order to achieve that, I want a boy meets girl. Boy wants the girl, but girl doesn't want her. That's one story. So how does how does the boy win over the girl's love? Is another is the whole story structure is. So he makes some kind of physical, emotional, or a moral journey in a story. And how does he do that? And what happens? The actions. Actions. The character will take some action. And that action will further be broken down into dialogues. What kind of dialogues? How to write effective dialogues is another science altogether. But unfortunately, we don't have much time today to discuss all these things. But again, all drama is moved around the action. What action does this character take to achieve, to get this what he wants? Indians want freedom, and they do satyagraha to achieve freedom. What is the action? Satyagraha is the action, right? That, or maybe there's a war which happens. So that action is that war. Character make choices which determine what happens next, and all or most of the questions which are asked at the beginning of the story are answered in the end. So that's the fine part. That how do you end your story? Whatever questions, whatever points that you have made in your story have to have to be answered at the end of the story. So what I'm teaching you guys is the broad framework that you need to know if you have a story in your mind, if you want to write a story. These are the broad framework that you need to look at your story from. Is it into a three arc structure, or is it having an arc or not? Is it having a character arc or not? Okay, what kind of action my character is taking? Why is he or she taking that action? That's very, very important. A lot of writers makes fault where they are not able to justify why is he doing this. He's doing this because he wants to do it. No, there has to be a compelling reason behind. We have all seen Drishyam, right? There has to be a compelling story behind why the lead protagonist in a film called Drishyam does what he does. He's not like that. He's a normal person, right? But he takes certain actions. Why does he take that action? So as long as you're able to justify the action taken by your characters and build a nice learning around that, something which is very socially relevant, there you've got a killer story. It will get published. It will get maybe chances of getting adapted into a web series or a film. So these are all things that you need to really look into. And in our academy, we work with students, helping them achieve these things. How do you achieve beautiful characterization? How do you hit the right bullseye? Okay, now let's get a little bit more detail into it. What makes a good story? These are the three things. Your story must have a conflict. Now, that conflict can be an internal conflict or it can be an external conflict. Your characters should be should be relatable. There are three R's which make a success. Once people read your book, they relate to your characters. If they relate to your characters, they refer your books to their friends. And three R's makes it a bestseller. People say, "How do you become a bestseller?" I says, "I make relatable characters, something that people can relate to, and say, 'Oh my God, yeah, really, that's awesome. I know somebody like this, or maybe I'm like this.'" Why? Because the way your character will talk, the way your character will look, all these things comes into the play, and then your story must have a beautiful story arc. So these are the three things. My character wants something. This is the main conflict. When you go and pitch your book to a publisher, or you go and pitch your book to a story to a film writer, he will ask you. He will tell you, okay, tell me what is the log line of your story. He's not going to listen that, oh, there was this boy called this and he used to love his family. No, he'll say, what is your log line? Tell me the story in one line. Log line kya hai? What is the log line? Conflict kya hai? What you should know. So uh, this story is about a person who wants to achieve this thing, and how he gets this, overcoming so many difficulties, is the story. Immediately the publisher and the and the filmmaker will say, wow, this writer has got a clarity of mind. He or she knows what is she doing, what is she up to. So these all things. Most of the time we get caught in how part of it. How will he do it? He will go in a car. He will go in a jungle. He will create a computer program. She will do this. She will do that. No, that's the how part. Look at the why part first. Why are they doing all these things? And then how will automatically follow. If you answer this why, then how will obviously follow? How will depend upon where your story is. If your story is based in Kerala, then your characters will behave in a certain way. If your story is based in New York, your characters will behave in a different way. And then how part will be depending on your state setting. What is your setting? How are they doing it? But the why is the core human element, the emotion part, the reason part. Why are they doing all these things? Why is he fighting for freedom? Why is he fighting for love? Why is he fighting for his company? Or why is he fighting for his family? Whatever. Conflict. All right. So that's a good story. Now, for someone who wants to write a non-fiction, who can say, the story is not my cup of tea. I just can't think so many characters and all that. Tanmay, do you have anything to tell me also? All this while you've been talking about great story, characters, creative writing. Here's the thing: what do people look in a non-fiction book? I don't have mastery over words, but still I've got a content which I want. I think I can tell to the world, and I'm giving you a piece of gold here. Make it, think it, absorb it. What do I look in a non-fiction book? I look to solve my problems. I want to solve my problem that I'm not a great salesperson, DNA of a champion salesperson. I want to know that how do I become effective? Seven secret habits of highly effective people. I want to become a spiritual person. There is something seven spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra. Now I have a problem which I want the answers to or the solutions to it. So your book should identify the problem. It should give them the solutions, and it should also do a good show them the future. That if you do this, you have a problem that you're not getting good marks. The solution is you build more fun around your studies. And the future would be you will top in the class. That's the narrative, right? And that's this whole three. You call it a three-arc structure. You call it a story arc. That's what happens in a non-fiction book. Also, you identify the problems. What are you going to solve? How will you help them? How will the people? Empathy part. When you start writing a book, you want to be empathetic, right? Give them solutions and show them a glorious future. That if you do this, you will become a success. Monk who sold his Ferrari. There was a problem in the story of a monk. He worked on a solution and then he became an absolutely blissful person. Fantastic book by Mr. Robert Sharma. Okay, so my this is where the second act of my storytelling happens. The first act was around mindset. How do you build? How do you when you approach book writing? You want to write a novel, overcome your have your winning mindset. The second part is what are the broad framework? How what should you look at creating structure? What are the important points that people don't follow when they create some great stories? These are the important point. And the last third and the most important probably is how do you get published, because your book can be the best kept secret in your computer. Your book or your idea can be the best kept idea ever thought of, but it is still inside your head. It has to go out. And that self-limiting, oh my God, who will talk about this? Why have you written all these things? No, let that inner barrier flow. Come it out. Let it come out. Okay. And how does it comes out? It talks about through publishing. People has to know your know your story, know your point of view. You're commenting or something on society or whatever, or life or relationships. Okay. Now, interesting part, and if anybody wants to create some notes, they can do that. So the publishing industry is basically divided into two, I would say, world, or the two ways: old way and new way. What is an old way? The old way, what we call it as traditional publishing. Traditional publishing is that Tanmay writes a book. He goes to a publisher, knocks the door of a publisher. Publisher opens the door, and publisher says, "Oh my God, this is the script. Fantastic, Mr. Dubey. I was loving. I was looking for somebody like me to come and give this script to me. Come, have a tea. Here's your check. Take this check, and I will go and publish a book, and I will whatever books I will sell, and I will give a part of it back to you." The whole this idea is a traditional publishing. Who all are traditional publishers? Penguin, HarperCollins, Rupa Publications, Random Book House. All these are traditional publishers. There are few traditional publishers otherwise also, but this is how the whole model of traditional publishing. And then there is something called self-publishing, where the writer publishes his or her own book. Now, in between, there is something called Amazon publishing or a Kindle publishing also, Kindle direct publishing. Now, Kindle has actually democratized the publishing, uh, the publishing world, and they have given the power of publishing right in the hands of anybody and everybody. What I mean by this is, you go to something called Kindle Direct Publishing. With a click of a button, you can actually publish your free of cost. Publisher will the Kindle will help you design cover page. They have their formats. You can self design your book in terms of how does it look. Nobody is going to check what have you written. Is it grammatically correct? Is it making sense? Is it not making sense? Unless and until it has some really uh, not socially good content or something which is plagiarized, copy paste, Amazon will or Kindle will never come to know. And bingo, with a click of a button, your book is published, ebook is published. Now, if this is so easy, why is Mr. Traditional Publishing still alive? Why are there so many publishers still alive? Because there is a catch. And the catch is there are two kinds of book. One is ebook. We all know what an ebook is, and then the other thing is a paperback. Now, this is a paperback. This book is a paperback, right? A wonderful book it is, by the way. And so, if you are getting published through Kindle Direct Publishing, the paperback that gets printed and come to the market, or anybody who orders your book from Amazon, gets printed outside India, somewhere in Singapore or Malaysia, wherever the Amazon's printing press is. Because the Indian publishers have not allowed, or maybe Kindle has not tied up with publishing press in India. So the copy which comes to you, the printed which you sell, is anywhere between 800 to 900 rupees. So for a new author, it doesn't make any sense. I have hardly seen any book, even Robin Sharma or Tony Robbins doesn't sell their book at 800 900 rupees. Normal regular paperback will come at 800 900 rupees. So the impact that you want to create with the help of a book gets limited. You only economical sense will only make you publish, make an ebook. And how many people read this ebook? Still to date, my data say about 60% of people still believe to have the look and feel of that hard copy. So while yes, technically speaking, you can get easily published on Kindle free of cost, but the kind of impact that you want to create with the help of your book gets very, very limited. So if you're looking at really boiling the ocean, and if you really want that everybody should read your book, then Kindle Direct Publishing is not your cup of tea. If you want self-satisfaction and say that, okay, I wrote a story, if anybody reads it, it doesn't read it, just from a TikTok perspective, I've done a book, well, fine, you can do this. In fact, it has got the good part about Amazon is you can actually go ahead and sell this ebook to the other parts of the world. So if you've written something very very I would say uh, globally relevant topic, then you've got a chance. But again, how many people read ebooks is also catch. I'm not getting into how do you get paid. Uh, if I am a Kindle Unlimited subscriber and you are a publisher and you have written a book, Kindle will not pay me because I am a Kindle. Kindle not pay me if I pick up your book. Pay you if I pick up your book. So your chances of earning, because the way Kindle promotes their book with unlimited and all these things gets lessened. So that's one catch. If you are only working with a strategy that all my eggs is in one basket, which you call it as ebook, and then you're thinking that your ebook will become great and will change the world and all that, maybe not. That is the reason why something called a self-publishing comes. There's another form of self-publishing. The first is the traditional publishing. As I said, it takes a lot of time to get published, about 3 to 6 months to get a manuscript selected, if you are lucky among the thousands. And then another 6 to 8 months of editing, proofreading, cover page design, because these are big guys. Because anybody and everybody can get published nowadays, Traditional publishers have created entry barriers, and they only work with Suresh Rainas of the world, MS Dhoni's of the world, the big names, celebrity names, Priyanka Chopra's of this world, because then they know that okay, he's a celebrity, his book is going to sell. So they have created an entry barrier because everybody can get published nowadays. So they have created an entry barrier. They're not they're not encouraging young authors. It's not that they are not published. I'm not saying so, but they're not generally not very open about publishing to new authors or to give chance to young authors. That is where this hybrid, what we at times is also called as vanity publishing, where an author pays for his or her own book, and there's no harm in it because one, you're cutting down on the time. Two, you're not unnecessarily, wasting and getting yourself compared. Oh, you're not good, or you're not this, you're not that. And also, when you go ahead and publish your book is also available on on Amazon. Paperback is available at decent prices, somewhere around 200, 300. So you're getting best of both the worlds. And if you're spending some little amount in getting it published, so what's the harm in it? A lot of people look down upon and say, you are investing your own book, printing your book, which means your book will not be good. Hmm. That's why I call it as an old way. It's an old mindset that only great people get published. That was how things worked about 15 years or 10 years ago, probably. Even when I was published 2014, it's good 7 years ago. There was no much self-publishing at that time. So traditional publishers were still open. By the time these last 3, 4, 5 years, publishing has become very, very democratized. Anybody can get published, which is good also. You don't have to wait outside for endless days, waiting for a publisher to come back and say whether you're. I've spent years, you know, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, just to hear yes and no from, or maybe a no from a publisher. So that's an important point. The second point is the royalty is low in the range of 5 to 8% because the publisher pays for your book and hence he pays you very less, anywhere between 5% to 8%. So if you're selling a book at 200 rupees, maybe you will get 10 rupees as a commission or as a royalty. In self publishing, because you have invested in your own money, the royalty is usually high, 40%, 50%. In a traditional publishing, all rights are with the publisher because publisher has bought your rights. Now, if tomorrow you have to convert it into a lecture or a video lecture or a course or a program or a movie, then you will have to shell out some money to the publisher. Whereas here in self-publishing, all rights are with the author. So you sell your own book, you create video programs, you create YouTube, and you can build a whole brand around your book, around the topic that you've written in your. The traditional publisher, why they are strong? Because they've got much wider offline distribution capability. Your books can be available, and this is where again they have made a close tie-up. They will not let anybody to any bookstores, Crosswords, and all these people to easily let anybody who self-publish get place their book on in that bookstore. So availability of book, that's what I mean by offline distribution, is great in traditional publishing. Whereas in self-publishing, it has got a lower reach because of no offline or distribution capability. But here's the catch. In the last 2 years, because of the COVID and the pandemic, and the way, or rather, I would say, last 3 years, the way consumer behavior has changed. Look at the amount of online shopping that we guys are doing nowadays compared to what we were doing 4 years ago. So if my book is available on Amazon, my this device, I can be sitting in any corner of the country and I can buy anybody's book. So this whole offline distribution capability is mitigated if you've got book on Amazon and anybody can buy your book because the consumer behavior has changed. So here's an edge. Even if as a self-publisher you want your book to be published, to be kept in bookstores, people take money. They say this what do you call shelf space, and they sell this shelf space. If you want your book to be placed in an airport, you have to pay probably money if you are a self-published author. If you're published through a publisher or a traditional publisher who owns that shelf space in let's say in an airport, there is a bookstore where the first two racks is owned by Penguin. Then Penguin will keep their books there. So the economics works this way. When you get published through traditional publishing, you tend to build a big brand name, but in a self-publishing, you have to work towards building your brand name. The last point, because publisher puts all their money, their revenues at stake, so there are no errors in the book. I have seen a lot of self-published books by Indian authors where there are so much of errors, grammatical and other errors, because people do shortcuts. And there's another science how to choose a best publisher. uh, so a lot of people offer some crazy prices, and they say, I will do this for you, I'll do this for you, and then they will not do it. So again, it's because of the time constraint, I really can't go detail into it, but in author coaching academies we help people to get really good publishers. Hopefully they are doing good job and they are doing good services. So this is all about the publishing world. How do you get published? The traditional publishing versus self-publishing versus your own publishing your own book via Kindle. And you guys are not applauding, so I'm applauding it for myself. That brings to an end of my lecture. I'm available on social media. You guys can follow me. You can ask questions. Post. I keep on doing these webinars where I teach people how to write books. And in case you are serious enough, you're worthy enough, you can also become part of other coaching academy in case you really want some professional help to develop your book and other stuff. So yeah, follow me on Insta, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not very active on Twitter, by the way, but I'm quite active on Insta and Facebook, so you can follow and keep a watch on my latest updates and the books and the movies which are coming ahead. And that's it. Thank you, my dear friends, for this wonderful, lovely time. I think we are bang on time, and I'm stop sharing. So yeah, I'm done with my presentation, and thank you so much, guys. It was lovely interacting with you. Maybe I don't know if you have any questions you want to ask now. You want to send an email or reach out to me via Facebook, whatever. I'm okay. And yeah, I'm done. And thank you so much, all of you. I can see you now. All of you are wearing your masks, and this is amazing thing. And all of you have taken time today to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words to make our own written creation and restore it in the hands of such a vast world. Students, if you have any questions or queries, you're welcome to ask, sir.
If there is no question, then I will ask a question. Okay. So, is there a question? Acha, the mic is going on. I can see some activity. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. Nice to meet you. So I have a question for you, sir. So once if I start writing a book and then
Uh-huh.
I want my inspiration and
Hello, am I audible? Hey, looks like there was a. Can you repeat? I couldn't hear. There was a connection error. I only heard that inspiration. Yeah, you're writing a book. Yeah, please go ahead.
So the question was, if I start writing a book and if I lose my inspiration in the middle of the book and if I feel like the book seems a lot boring, should I drop it or continue it further?
Okay, so you should see there are four C's again. The first thing is whenever you write a book, it has to have a clarity of mind. Why are you writing this book? You need to understand you should be very clear in this book that what am I going to achieve with this help of this book. If you don't associate a result with the book, you will 101% get bored and you'll say, why am I doing this here? What if even if this book get published, will it help me get a job? No. Then why am I writing it? Why am I wasting my time? Even if I write this book, it will get published. Will I earn a living out of it? No. Then why am I doing it? Stop it. Who will read this book? 5 people, 10 people. Then why am I doing it? Stop it. So you have to work on first thing the clarity of mind, that why are you doing this? What are the absolute abstract results that you're looking at? Second, you have to be committed towards your cause. That okay, I want to write book because I want to get self gratification, or I want to, even if 10 people read this book, I will be happy. That's clarity of mind. One. Two, committed. Once you have that clarity of mind, be committed towards it. Three, consistency. There is no secret to greatness other than being consistent. Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, he was a great batsman. Probably there were even greater cricketers. Maybe Vinod Kambli was a better batsman than Mr. Sachin Tendulkar. But what made Mr. Tendulkar great was his consistency and commitment towards the cause of playing cricket for the country for 25 years. He had all the money. He could have saved. Thank you very much. Now I've got enough money to maybe feed for 2 generations, 5 generations. But he still, for 25 years, kept on daily coming out, batting, practicing for India. So clarity of mind, commitment, consistency, and last but not the least, C, coaching. Have a mentor, somebody who can guide you through all this process. You're getting ahead, you're getting stuck. And people will tell you, okay, if you're getting stuck, feel bored, writer's block, listen to music, go and dance, maybe go out for a swim, go out for an exercise, run, do yoga, whatever. That's fine. These are all painkillers. The bigger point is, why are you writing this book and what will you achieve with the help of this book? So you need to have this whole clarity here in your mind. I was passionate. I wrote all my books when I was working full time. I would come from Bangalore to Delhi. I'm based in Gurgaon, Delhi, and during the flight I would write books. I got chance to come to Kerala a couple of times for my business meetings. I would love getting on to big flights, longer flights, because while a lot of my colleagues will sleep, I would get that 1 hour, 2 hour of peaceful time to write on a laptop or a phone. That's how I did it because I was passionate towards it. There was this passion of telling a great story to the world. That was it. To fulfill my passion. So write something that you're really passionate about. Have that clarity of mind. Nice question, by the way. I liked it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.